Jim Jones was dragged out of his studio, handcuffed, humiliated, and exposed just hours ago. And guess who set the whole thing off? Camron's people, not the media, not the police officer's family, leaked an effing clip. They said that Chrissy would ride for Jim no matter what. But today she isn't riding. She's pleading in the middle of traffic on her knees, sobbing so hard that paramedics had to pull her off the sidewalk. Isn't love and hip-hop drama? It's betrayal on a level no one was aware of. Documentary voice notes, deleted texts, and security footage from a hotel Chrissy didn't even know about were all dropped in a burner account that's already racking up views like wildfire. And to make matters worse, the voice in that footage wasn't Jim's. Rather, it was someone much too close to Chrissy saying things that make this whole relationship feel like one long setup. Chrissy just muttered something under her breath that left even the police stunned. He warned me that this would happen if I ever told the truth. But just when everyone thought things couldn't get any worse for Chrissy, the situation took a terrifying turn. Word spread on the street that she was being followed, not by fans or paparazzi, but by what insiders are now calling a stalker. Several sources claim that Camron's cousin, a former private security guard for a well-known politician, is now keeping tabs on Chrissy's whereabouts for reasons no one is willing to publicly acknowledge. One anonymous tipster even stated, "They're not just watching her, they're waiting for something. No one knows what that something is." But the look of fear on Chrissy's face when she was. The entire story was told by someone seen at a gas station in New Jersey, with hands shaking, pacing, back and forth and whispering on the phone. This is where things really go south, though, because Camron's aunt, yes, the same aunt who used to be at odds with Chrissy in the early 2000s over a backstage incident at BET, leaked a handwritten letter to a gossip page, claiming that Chrissy was the one who alerted police about the letter as dated, signed, and written with fire. One line literally reads, "Chrissy always knew the streets weren't built for Jim, and now she's playing cleanup crew to save her own skin." If Jim's covert meeting with former crew members who were under federal surveillance is real, then it's beyond betrayal. It's war. Let's take a moment to confirm that isn't just a tabloid rumor. Like if El Chapo's girl snitched and cried on IG Live after, "I'm not buying it," one user wrote, while another commented, "She cried too hard. That's guilt, not grief." The streets were lit up, and blogs went crazy, and Chrissy the informant became a trending topic on Black Twitter overnight. What about the video that went viral on the internet around the time this letter was dropped? Camron's family. Known as The Final Straw, the video is edited like a Netflix documentary trailer and begins with security footage from a rooftop lounge in Manhattan, where Jim is seen passing a mysterious envelope to a hooded figure. There is no sound, just a chilling silence. 5 minutes later, Chrissy emerges from an Uber, looking nervous, scanning the block, and then there are flashing lights, FBI jackets, and Jim in the background. Cuffs. But here's the twist. The entire story has been twisted. The world didn't realize that she had led him there, and now we're witnessing a setup theory that has gone viral on YouTube, Reddit, and even TikTok. One well-known thread broke it down like a movie scene. Chrissy persuades Jim to make amends with former affiliates in Scene 2. Offers a time and location while being aware that the Fed has been watching Scene 3. She arrives crying, aware of what is going to happen, and everyone loves it. Even Mona Scott, who has previously refrained from commenting on unpleasant situations, tweeted a mysterious story with the caption, "Sometimes silence protects the guilty." Supporters believe that was directed toward now. Let's discuss the alleged financial trail. According to a number of unverified reports, Chrissy opened a new offshore account 2 days prior to Jim's arrest, depositing a cool $250,000. It's a coincidence that no one believes this, so one user even shared a screenshot of the purported transfer with the caption, "She cashed in her man for clout and a payout." The story is getting out of control. Some claim Chrissy is a government operative, while others claim she was duped by Camron's family into believing Jim would leave her for a younger person. Regardless, the situation is messier than we've ever seen. And if you believe Jim is unaware of all this, insiders claim he's refusing to answer her calls while she's in jail. As the court date approaches, Chrissy has been seen going to church twice in a week, wearing sunglasses at night, and walking with her head down. Those close to her claim that she isn't sleeping, eating, or checking her phone constantly. She is the same woman who supported him through career comebacks, label disputes, and a dozen near breakups. Now, he won't even accept her phone calls. Camron's sister chimed in just when we thought the story was calming down, posting a black and white photo of Chrissy and Jim with the message, "You knew better," and a broken heart emoji. She's waiting for another bombshell to break. Within 2 hours, that post had over 80,000 likes, and the comments were non-stop. Chrissy had always been known for her tough exterior, the woman who had weathered the storm of love and hip-hop's chaos, and the fiery relationship with Jim that seemed invincible. But behind the closed doors of their home, things were far from perfect. The public never saw the cracks. Chaos people are demanding Chrissy come clean. Others are defending her, and some are calling for a full-blown reunion special to air it all. It seemed as though the universe had destroyed the life she believed she had built when those handcuffs clicked around Jim's wrists. She had supported him through his legal issues, his street connections, and the constant threats looming over him for years. But as she stood outside the courthouse, her world fell apart, not just because Jim was arrested, but also because of what she unaware of the information that had been withheld from her. The very people she believed she could trust had betrayed her. And now, as cameras flashed and social media erupted with rumors, Camron's family, the very people Jim had known, including his own, dropped a devastating piece of evidence for which no one was ready. Hours after Jim's arrest, the leaks began to come in. First a string of then came the videos, which were grainy at first, but unmistakably real, showing Jim in a heated conversation with an unidentified person about plans that had nothing to do with the life he had built with Chrissy. The weight of these revelations was like a tidal wave, and Chrissy was left in its wake. The private conversations between Jim and some of his closest confidants were now in Camron's camp. Her phone was buzzing nonstop, one message after another, flooding in, all with the same shocking news. Camron's family had evidence that could implicate not only Jim but her as well. It was a betrayal unlike any other. The same people who had once called her family were now responsible for this devastating leak. Despite her best efforts to remain strong, Chrissy soon started crying and was unable to maintain her composure. The world was desperate for answers, and Chrissy was left to respond to a question she couldn't even begin to comprehend. How much of Jim's life had she actually known at this point? The public couldn't stop reacting to the leaks, and Twitter, Instagram, and every other platform exploded with reactions, some expressing sympathy for Chrissy, and others accusing her of being complicit in Jim's schemes. The media had portrayed Chrissy as a tragic character whose devotion had taken her down a dark and agonizing path. But the story wasn't finished. The pictures, videos, and messages were just the beginning. Back at the Yee house, Chrissy had to contend with a new conflict between her private and public lives. The former reality TV queen was now the focus of an unforgiving spotlight that included all of her friends, associates, and co-workers. Chrissy's life had been built on shaky foundations, but things weren't adding up. If Jim was involved in something this serious, why had Camron's family waited until now to expose M? What was the true motivation behind the leak? Chrissy wasn't just fighting to clear her name. Jim's arrest was only the beginning of this developing scandal. "There's something you need to know," he said softly, his voice barely above a whisper. "We've had eyes on Camron's case." The following day, a surprise visit to the lawyer's office took an unexpected turn. Chrissy entered the sterile office, with the weight of the situation pressing down on her shoulders. But what the lawyer told her next would change the course of this entire saga. The family has been constructing a case against Jim for a while now, and it appears that they have been waiting for the ideal opportunity to attack. However, you are unaware that the information they have made public was not intended for general consumption. Rather, it is a component of a much larger scheme. Chrissy's heart was pounding as she listened, and she couldn't stop wondering who was orchestrating this. As the days went by and the pressure on Chrissy increased, the rumors became more ferocious, the leaks more frequent, and the pressure to keep her composure nearly unbearable. One thing stayed constant: the feeling that something was missing that she couldn't get rid of. What was Camron's family hoping to accomplish? And most importantly, was Jim the man she thought he was? Or had she been blinded by love all these years? The final revelation came late one night as Chrissy was going through her phone when a new message arrived from an unknown number. It was brief and said, "The truth is worse than you think. You've been set up." Chrissy clicked the link, and what she saw shocked her. A brand new video that had never been seen before had appeared on the screen, and this time, it wasn't Jim. The most terrifying aspect was that Chrissy was in the background, unaware of the game being played directly in front of her, but she had never expected one of Jim's closest associates to be caught in a conversation with none other than Camron himself. It was evident from the conversation that Jim was never intended to be the fall guy. It was a well-planned move that would bring down the entire empire Jim had worked so hard to build. The night Chrissy watched that last video, everything she believed she knew about her life, about Jim, and even about herself fell apart in a million pieces. The truth, if you can call it that, was far more sinister than she could have ever imagined, and Jim was not just the victim of a scandal. Chrissy's world fell apart again. In the midst of everything, Chrissy found herself torn between loyalty, betrayal, and an overwhelming need for the truth. The video, which had come out of nowhere, was chilling Camron. The man who had once called Jim his brother was seen laughing with one of Jim's closest friends. The man she had stood by for years was actually a pawn in a larger, more dangerous game that had been carefully planned by people she thought she could trust. Associates. At first, the conversation was informal, but it was obvious that the underlying threat was there. They weren't talking about business as usual. Instead, they were planning a downfall that was much larger than Chrissy had expected. In the background, Chrissy was playing the supportive girlfriend, completely unaware of the chaos going on around her and the darker motivations at work in her heart. As she watched the video again, her mind was racing with unanswerable questions. Why hadn't she noticed the warning signs? How long had Camron's family been plotting this betrayal? Did she play a part in it all? Was she merely a pawn in a game she didn't even realize she was playing? The messages began to pour in shortly after the video went viral, and soon after that, everyone was talking about Chrissy on social media and gossip sites. The world had turned against her, and in the midst of the chaos, the one person she needed most, Jim, was in jail, and his silence left her to fight this battle alone. However, the support she had hoped for was not there. The comment sections were full of accusations, judgments, and hateful speculation. Was she involved? They asked. How long she knew about Jim's dirty dealings. The woman who had made a living from reality TV drama and had battled valiantly to keep her private life just that, private, was now thrust into the public eye in the most explosive way possible. Chrissy wasn't one to back down, though, as she had experienced worse before. And if there was one thing she knew how to do, it was to survive. The first step was obvious. She needed to find in the middle of the night. Chrissy made a decision that would alter everything. She decided to speak with Camron directly, a move that could make or break her because, after all, Camron wasn't just anybody. He was a powerful man with a personal agenda. However, Chrissy wasn't scared. If she wanted to learn the truth, she had to go straight to the source. Chrissy's voice trembled at first, but she soon found her strength. "I know what you've been doing," she said. "I know you've been behind everything. The leaks, the videos, the lies, and I want to know why. Why are you doing this to Jim?" The phone call was tense. Every word, every pause, and every silence between them felt like a mine waiting to explode. There was a long pause on the other end of the line, and for a moment, Chrissy thought he was going to. "It's not about Jim. It's never been about Jim. It's about you and your loyalty. You've been in the way all this time, protecting him and covering for him. But you didn't know the whole story, did you? Chrissy felt the blood drain from her face. You don't get it, Chrissy, Camron said in a calm, low voice. What do you mean Jim's in too deep? Camron went on. Making moves and pulling strings with people you don't even know. You've been blinded by love. And now that it's too late, there's no turning back. So what? Do you think you're going to ruin him? Ruin us? No, Camron said in a chilly tone. I'm not ruining anyone. I'm just revealing the truth that Jim's been hiding for too long. The call ended abruptly, leaving Chrissy standing in the center of the room with her mind racing. Camron had just confessed to everything, but there was more to what he was telling her. There was a larger scheme at work, and she wasn't going to watch helplessly as everyone around her destroyed the life she had battled for. In the days that followed, Chrissy learned more about Camron's past. She pieced together pieces of the puzzle and his true motivations, and what she discovered left her reeling. Camron's family and a number of other influential people had been manipulating Jim behind the scenes, using him as a pawn in a bigger game that involved money control and a power struggle that cut across industries. In her quest for answers, Chrissy came across information that would completely alter the situation. The leaked evidence, damaging videos, photos, and texts, had been altered. And it wasn't just Jim that was being exposed. It was also intended to cause Chrissy to doubt everything she knew. The battle for her life and her love was far from over, and she wasn't going to allow Camron or anyone else to take one thing as certain, though. This story is far from over. We would like to hear your thoughts on what you believe actually happened. Was Chrissy an innocent bystander caught up in a mess? Or is this the ultimate betrayal of trust? Take everything from her without a fight. As the drama unfolds, seems like we're just scratching the surface of this explosive saga. If you're as shocked by this turn of events as we are, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit the like button. If you're worried about what will happen next, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the next big-than-life drama occurs. You can be sure we're on top of everything, delivering the unvarnished truth to you. Watch this space, because if you thought seemed insane, but hold on, the true mysteries are just getting started.